Hello everyone, in this video I will show you a step by step how you can apply for your US tourist visa. Trust me, you do not need help of any agent, you can apply for US visa on your own. First thing that I want you to do is that I want you to open your Chrome browser and type DS160. DS160 is the visa application form that you need to fill if you want to apply for your US tourist visa. So on my screen you can see that I have typed DS160. Now click on this link, online non-immigrant visa application. So this is the page where we are going to apply for our US visa. First thing that you see over here, select a location. So this basically means that from wherever you are applying, you need to select that location. So if you are applying from Delhi, India, you will search for Delhi and you can see Delhi over here, you will select this. So now we will type the code that is shown below and then we will click on start an application. So you need to read this, click on I agree, and then there is one security question. Now let me tell you something. The application ID that you see over here, you need to save this application ID. This is the application ID through which you will be booking your appointment as well. And also it is very important because the system will throw you out because there is a technical glitch with this system. So after let us say 10 minutes or 15 minutes of filling your application, the system could throw you out. It could get timed out. In that case, you will need this application ID along with this security question to get you back in. So remember this application ID and remember the answer that you are going to give to one of these security questions. So you can select any question out of these security questions. I will be selecting what is your oldest sibling name. I will be typing any random answer. You need to type answer that you can remember. And then I will click on continue. This is the personal information section. First part is your surname. Let us say my surname is Khan, so I'll put in Khan. This is your family name. Second part is your first name. Let us say my first name is Salman, so I'll put in Salman over here. What if you only have one name on your passport? If that is the case, that name will go in the surname section and first name, given name will be FNU, which means first name unavailable. This is because for US visa, surname is mandatory and it cannot be blank. So if you only have one name on your passport, make sure that you write it in surname section. Now this question, full name in native alphabet, will not apply to most of us. So we'll click on does not apply. Have you ever used other name? So a lot of people do change their name, especially women after marriage. So if that is the case, if you have changed your name, select yes. For most of us, it is going to be no. Do you have a telecode that represents your name? No, I do not have any telecode that represents my name. I am a male, so I will select male. I am single, so I will be selecting my marital status as single. If you are married, then you should be selecting married. Date and place of birth. Again, this information should exactly match what is on your passport. So date of birth is, let's say for the purpose of this video, 1st January 1994. City, let us say I was born in Kolkata, which is part of West Bengal and it is in India. So you should obviously be filling in your own details over here which should match your passport details. Click on save. It is very important that you click on save because as I have told you that this system will throw you out. So if you are not clicking on save and it gets time out, you will not be able to log back in. So this section is asking you about your nationality. I am Indian, so I will select India as my nationality. Now this is asking, do you have any other nationality other than being an Indian? Do you hold any other nationality? For Indians, this will generally be no because Indians cannot have dual citizenship. But many country does allow it. So if you have dual citizenship, you should be selecting yes. Indians will be selecting no. Now this is, do you have a permanent resident of a country other than the one that we have indicated above, which is India? So you can have permanent residency of any other country, for example Canada. If you have it, then you will be selecting yes. If you do not have it, you will be selecting no. National identification number. A lot of country has national identification number. So if your country has national identification number, you should be typing that number over here. Indians, we do not have national identification number, so even if you select does not apply, that should be fine. But what I would suggest is that you can type your Aadhaar card details over here. So your Aadhaar card number, you can type it over here. For the purpose of this video, I will be selecting does not apply. US social security number, again most of us will not be having US social security number, because most of you who are watching this video, I presume you are applying for US tourist visa for the first time and you have not been to US. US taxpayer ID number, again most of you will not be having this number. Click on save, click on continue application, click on next. So now we will be in the travel section. So this section is important because the class of visa that you are applying, you will specify in this section. Purpose of trip to the US. So if you are applying for business or tourism, you will be selecting B visa category, which is temporary business pleasure or visitor. Now you need to specify the category which you are applying. So it is B1, B2 visa, which is business and tourism. It is valid for both. Now, have you made a specific travel plans? So until and unless you have a specific event in mind that you're going to attend, until and unless you know exactly when you're going to attend, you should always be selecting no. Have you made a specific travel plans? So if you select no, which means that you do not have any specific plan as and when you are going to US, but you have a tentative plan. So that intended date of travel, that tentative date of arriving in US, you need to mention it over here. Let us say I want to arrive 1st January 2025 and I'm going to stay for 10 days. So I'm gonna select 10 and then I'm gonna select days, and nobody else is paying for our trip. We are paying for our trip ourselves, so we will be selecting self. Now that you have said you're gonna stay in US for 10 days, they want to know where are you going to stay in US. So I know most of you do not have any place in mind that you are going to stay there. So until unless you have a friend in US, you know them and you are going to stay at their place, you should always mention the address of the hotel where you are planning to stay. And you do not need to have reservation for that, because you can apply for this visa even without hotel reservation or flight ticket, because this visa is interview based. So you will have to go through interview and they don't expect you to have flight ticket or hotel reservation. So if you are going to Orlando to visit Disney World, so there are a lot of hotels in that city, right? You can Google it and then you can type that address over here and that is fine. So let's say that I'm staying at Orlando. I'm gonna give uh, the address of that hotel where I'm going to stay. It is in Florida. Zip code, let us say this is the zip code, and then I will click on save, continue application, next. Nobody else is traveling with me, so I have selected no. Save, continue application, next. So this question, have you previously traveled to US? I have never been to US, so I will select no. Have you ever been issued a US visa? I have not been issued a US visa, so I will be selecting no. Have you ever been refused a US visa or been refused to enter into United States? So again no. For most of us this will be no, but if it applies to you, then you should be selecting yes. So this will depend subject to person to person. For most of us this will be no. Has anyone ever filed an immigrant petition on your behalf with the United States? So for most of us it will be no, but many of you, I know that you have an immigration petition filed by your lawyer or by anyone in your family in US. So if that is the case, then you should be selecting yes. Save, continue application, next. Now this is your address section. So first part is your home address. Generally I would say that you should be giving your passport address or your permanent address over here. So this home address is your permanent address section, and if you want to give your current address for any correspondence, then that is your mailing address. So this will be your current address and home address will be your permanent address. Now let me fill this. So if your current address is different from this address, home address, then you should be selecting no, and then you should be giving, if you select no, then you need to give your mailing address as well. For me, let us say my permanent address and my current address is same, so I will be selecting yes. and then I do not need to give my mailing address separately because they are the same address. Primary phone number, the number that you are using currently. So let's say this is my primary phone number. Secondary phone number, any other phone number that you have. I do not have it. I do not have any work phone number, so I will be selecting no. Again, this will be different for different people, so based on your own situation you should be answering these questions truthfully and honestly. Have you ever used any other phone number in the last 5 years? No, I have been using this phone number for the past 5 years, so I will be selecting no. But if you have changed your phone number in the last 5 years and if you have been using any other phone number, you should select yes and give that phone number over here as well. Email address, so this is going to be your email address. So let's say this is my email address. You should be giving your own email address. I have not used any other email address in the past 5 years. This is the only email address that I have used in the last 5 years. If you have used any other email address in the last 5 years, give that email address over here, select yes and give that email address. Social media. So this is your Instagram account, your Facebook account, your LinkedIn account. So you need to give details about that. So let's say that I'm only on YouTube, so I will be giving my YouTube details over here. So you need to give the YouTube link over here. So you need to copy the URL and type it over here. Let me just, for the sake of this video, type the name of my channel. So notes from Danish. Now this list has Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. If you are using any other application other than this and you want to disclose it, then you should be selecting yes over here, that I want to provide information about my presence on any other website. But for me, let's say it's no, so I will be selecting no. Save it, continue application. Click on next. Now this is your passport details section. So if you use regular passport like all of us, so you should be selecting regular. If you use diplomatic passport, you should be selecting diplomatic. For me it's regular, so I have selected regular. Passport number, again open your passport, check what number is there and type it over here. So for Indians, they don't have passport book number, so I have selected does not apply. If you have passport book number, give your passport book number. So the country that issued this passport is India, so I have selected India. If it is different for you, so you should be selecting that country. The place of issue of passport, again this will be mentioned on your passport. So for me it is Kolkata and state is West Bengal. Issue date, let's say my passport was issued on 1st January 2020 and it is going to expire on 1st Jan 2030. Have you ever had your passport lost or stolen? For me it is no, but if your passport was stolen or lost, select yes. Save it, continue application. Next. So now this is US point of contact information. Again, a lot of you who are tourists, they don't know anybody in US, so you do not have any point of contact in US. If that is the case, you can also give name of a store, company or organization you plan to visit during your trip. So if you're going to Orlando and you want to visit Disney World, that is your point of contact. So organization name should be Disney World and click do not know over here. Now this question, what is Disney World to you? So Disney World is not your relative or employer, so obviously it is other. So select other. If you select other, then you need to give address of Disney World. Again, a simple Google search will give you details about Disney World, the address, the email, the telephone number. So I have given a dummy address over here, a dummy telephone number and dummy email address. You should not be doing that. You should do your research, get the address of Disney World or whichever place you are going to and give the exact details over here. Make sure that is correct. Click on save, continue application, next. Now this section is about your family, your parents and your relatives. So first question is about your father. So we are filling details about Salman Khan. His father name is Salim Khan. So Khan Salim. Date of birth, let's say, is 1970. and he's not in US. If your father is in US, you should be selecting yes. So no. Mother details, Salma Khan. Date of birth 1974, and she is also not in US. Now this question about immediate relatives, they are asking you, do you have any immediate relative in US? You have already answered if your parents are in US or not. So immediate relatives do not include your parents. So if you read this definition of immediate relatives, it is your fiance, spouse, child and siblings. So if they are in US, you should be selecting yes, otherwise no. So again, it is not about distant relatives. So if about your distant aunt, distant cousin, so there should be no. So select no, save, continue application. Next. Now this section, primary occupation. So if you are a student, you should be selecting student over here. If you are retired, you should be selecting retired. If you are in any of these profession, if you are engineer, you should be selecting engineering. If you are homemaker, homemaker. If your profession is not in this list, then you should be selecting other. If you select other, you need to describe what you perform. Let us say that I am into audit, so and my job profile is as an audit senior. So I will type audit senior over here. I will type the name of my employer over here, and then I will type the address of my employer over here, phone number of my employer, when I started working for that employer, and monthly income in local currency. So if I am working from India, the monthly income in local currency, which is Indian rupees, I should mention over here. And then I will describe my job duties, what I perform at my job. If you are not working as of yet, if you are just a student, then you should be selecting a student over here, and then you need to give your university details over here, and this section monthly income, if you're not earning anything, will not be applicable. Let me fill these details. So I have filled dummy details over here. This is the organization. You should obviously be selecting your own organization. This is the dummy address. This is the date on which I started working, and this is my monthly salary in Indian rupees. Now this over here, you will give your job description, job details. I'm just say typing describe, but you should be describing in detail about your job, at least 3-4 lines. Click on save, continue application, and next. So now this next question, were you previously employed? So if you were employed before this job, like for example this is your second job, then you should be giving that job details over here as well. Select yes and then give that job detail over here. Now this question, have you attended any educational institution at a secondary level or above? So if you read this, this means that anything after class 10, you should give details if you have studied that. So you should be selecting yes. But I have also seen that if you are only giving your bachelor's and master's detail, if you have done that, that should also be sufficient. So for the purpose of this video, let me explain this to you. If you are giving only your bachelor's detail, name of institution will be your university name, address, city where your university is located. Again, the same thing, state, zip code, country, where India, for example, course of study. If you have done bachelor's in commerce, so BCom, you can type it over here. If you are doing MBA, then you should be selecting Master of Business Administration, and date of attendance from when you started studying for that course, and then date of attendance too, till when you have studied for that course. So if you have studied since from 2020 till 2023, then you should give from, for let's say, 1st January 2020 till 1st January 2023. For the purpose of this video, I will be selecting no, but you understand now how to populate that detail over there. Click on save, continue application, next. Do you belong to a clan or tribe? So I don't belong to any clan or tribe, so I will be selecting no. You should know your situation better, so you should be selecting based on that. Language, so let's say I know English, I know Hindi, and I know Urdu. Have you traveled to any country region within the last 5 years? Simple question. If you have traveled anywhere, then you should be selecting yes, otherwise no. Let's say I have traveled to Dubai, so I will be selecting yes and I will type United Arab Emirates. Have you belonged to, contributed to, worked for any professional, social, charitable organization? No. Any experience, skills in explosive, nuclear, biological? No. Again, this will be different for different people, so based on your own situation, read it and honestly answer it. I have never served in military and I have never been part of any paramilitary unit, vigilante unit or rebel group. Save. Click on next. So all these questions will be different for different individuals. So I will urge you to read it carefully and answer it honestly. So this is medical related question. Do you have any communicable disease? Read the disease name over here. If you have it, then you should select yes, otherwise no. Mental or physical disorder? No. Any drug abuse or if you are an addict? No. Save it. Continue application. Security background part 2. So if you have ever been arrested or if you have been subject to pardon, amnesty? No. Engaged in any conspiracy? No. If you are coming to United States for prostitution? No. If you have ever been involved in money laundering? No. Committed, conspired human trafficking? No. Aided, abetted, anything that results in human trafficking? No. Are you a spouse, son, daughter of anyone who was part of human trafficking? No. But this could be different for you, so answer it honestly. Save it. Continue application. Next. Now before I move forward, I want to tell you some of this could be complicated for you. You may be confused in the visa application process and it is understandable, and I would suggest you that if you are confused, if you need my help, reach out to me. I can help you with your visa application form. Now these questions, you seek to engage in a sabotage, any illegal activity? No. Terrorist activities? No. Financial assistance to terrorism? No. Member of terrorism or terrorist organization? No. Son, daughter of anyone engaged in such things? No. Committed any genocide? No. Committed or participated in torture? No. Committed any act of violence or political killing? No. Engaged in recruitment of child soldiers? No. Coercive transplantation of human organ? No. Save. Continue application. Next. So these two questions again should be based on your own situations. Have you ever tried to come to US through fraud or willful misrepresentation? No. And have you ever been deported from any country? No. Save. Continue application. Next. Have you ever withheld custody of a US citizen child? No. Have you voted in United States in violation of any law? No. Have you ever renounced US citizenship for the purpose of avoiding taxation? No. Again, this will be simple. I think for most of us, this will be no. Next. Now in this section, I will suggest please review your details carefully, read it carefully, and then click on save, continue, next. Read it, next. So these are basically all the details that we have filled so far. Please read it carefully. Next. Now this section, sign and submit. So if nobody helped you with your visa application, you have filled it on your own, you should be selecting no. Give your passport details over here and give this code. Next. So this is the first step of your visa application. This is your confirmation page. You will take this confirmation page along with your passport to your visa interview. The second step of your visa application is interview. So you need to apply for your visa interview. So once you apply for your visa interview, you will get appointment instruction letter. You will carry the instruction letter, you will carry the confirmation page, you will carry passport to your interview along with any other document that is necessary for you. So you should know which document is relevant for you. If you need my help in identifying the documents that you should be carrying that can help your case, let me know and I can help you with that as well. I can help you with interview preparation as well. Thank you so much.